special about the Police Athletic League and the officers that work within that unit is that they come from the field or a variety of assignments, and they're not used to really working with kids. And once they get down to the PAL Center, they see a need of the youth that we serve, and they act as mentors and they act as coaches, and in a lot of cases they become their friends.
PAL has been an important link between the police department and the community. It is by far our best recruiting tool. It creates a pipeline for kids to understand what the department is about, for families to embrace our activities and understand the value of being a police officer. And you can't get that through other experiences, so it is essential.
In 1995, I was tasked with developing and implementing the Police Athletic League within the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. I think originally there was some misconception about what PAL was, but I think over the years that people now, it's got a reputation. It's a full-time job now, not a part-time job like it was when I first started. We have our own facility. And it's done great things. There's been a lot of people after me that put a lot of effort into getting PAL up and going as a full-time job within the police department.
From day one, you can see a change with the kids when they see that we are not just police officers, but we care and we're human beings.
I think the officers, especially those that come from environments that are different from the kids that they're serving, they get a feel for the challenges and the complexity of the kids' lives. And it's hard to do that just by reading a case file or by having an interview on the street of a suspect or a witness. But when you actually begin to connect with the families, that's when you understand why they're in the situations they're in. I mean, recently when the young infant was shot, and it turned out to be a family member of a PAL kid. And I think that really sent a lot of shockwaves through the PAL team, because they were very well aware of the victimization of that family.
Well, one of my favorite times of the year is around the holidays, and down at the PAL Center, that's kind of a special time. This last year there's a great story where one of the kids at the PAL Center, we had this huge event, big Christmas party, where these kids get to come, and this is really their only opportunity to get a gift. A lot of them come from broken homes, so we give everybody a raffle ticket, and in the raffle ticket that means that you get to go out and pick your one gift. So we have tables of gifts, and I was watching this little boy. He's probably 4 or 5 years old, and the whole night he was all excited, kept coming over to the table looking at the different gifts. And so finally it's his turn, and in groups of 10 we let him come up and pick their gifts. Well, he comes with his older brother, who's probably about 13 or 14, and they're holding hands, and his older brother's kind of helping him look through all the gifts. Well, I'm at the boys' table, and he comes over, and after about 5 minutes of picking down, he narrows down to like 2 or 3 gifts, and he can't decide which gift to pick. Well, finally he decides on this stuffed animal. He couldn't just put it down. So he holds on to it, squeezes it, and he runs over and goes to show his mom. And me and the brother are left standing there and kind of share this smile, and it was kind of cool. But then the brother comes over, and he's got his ticket in his hand, and he goes to pick up this basketball. It's a nice basketball. I could tell that that's what he wanted to get. And he set the basketball down, and he kind of looked at me, and he goes, "Hey, would it be okay if I gave my gift to my brother?" And I was so touched by it, I couldn't even say anything. I just smiled and nodded. So he got this other football that his little brother had been wanting to get, and gave it to him.
One day at practice, I was so hungry, I was about to pass out, and Coach Q, he asked me was all right, and I told him I was hungry, so he let me go in the kitchen and make like 2 or 3 corn dogs.
Last couple years have been kind of tough because I've lost my mom recently. We lost her in 2010 to breast cancer, sadly. But with everyone here down at PAL, they've really comforted me. I've been coming to PAL a lot. It's been basically my second home.
Back when I was little, I used to think officers were mean and all they would do was arrest and take people to jail. But once I came to PAL, it changed a lot, because I would see that police officers aren't really that bad as I thought they were. They're actually really nice, and they're a good time.
Before I started coming here, I really didn't like police officers, just because That's just how people are around here, but after I started coming here, my opinion changed a lot.
Cheerleading's been so fun because of Officer Kelly. She's been like a second mom to me.
I mean, if I was to come here, I'd probably be just getting in trouble or something.
We had a couple of our officers who are football coaches. We're starting up a football program and trying to recruit kids for the football program last year. And so literally we have some kids that are at the PAL Center that they took on as, okay, they're going to play on the team, but we needed to recruit more. And as they were literally getting in the PAL van and drive around and talk to kids and say, hey, have you ever played football? Well, they come up to this one kid who they see standing out on the street and thought, well, go talk to him. And as they pull up, this kid takes off running. And, I mean, in his environment, you see the police or anything that says police and you don't stick around and ask questions, you get out of there. So he starts running from the officers. Well, they track him down like, hey, we're not trying to, we just want to talk to you and see if you want to play football. So finally they catch up to him and talk to him for a few minutes. And this kid's, he's athletic, he'd like to play football. Okay, well, we need to, talk to your parents about signing the football waiver and come to this meeting. And he kind of stops and he drops his head and he's like, I don't have any parents to sign the waiver. I went, what do you mean you don't have any parents? Where do you live? And he goes, I live out on the streets. And this kid had been for several months living out on the streets as a 13-year-old boy. But now he is playing on this football team. He's actually in a group home. He stayed with one of the officers for a while until he got his, back on his feet and got him into this group home. So stories like that, that's where you know that you're really starting to make a difference.
My wife and I were eating at a restaurant, and I saw a lady coming towards where we were eating, and she appeared to be familiar, but I couldn't have told you who she was. And she got up to us and said, "Are you Sergeant Sims?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And she started crying. And she said, "You saved my son's life." She said, "The Police Athletic League saved my son's life." That he had been going down the wrong direction and his choice of life things that he was doing were wrong, and that the Police Athletic League has straightened him out, and now he was working full-time in a dentist's office and got his life squared away.
My name is Shawnee Nix, and I'm a leader. I am a police officer with the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department, and I am assigned to the Police Athletic League, which means that I work with kids in an after-school program. I concentrate on coaching boxing. PAL is basically, it's a safe place where kids can come to after school, participate in athletic as well as academic activities. The whole concept is having police officers mentor kids in the inner city and work with them so that they can learn to trust and come to trust and confide in police officers. I started boxing when I was 29, and it was basically a form of exercise for me. I wanted to lose weight, and about 6 months later, I lost about 40 pounds. The coach was taking some kids to the state fair for some fights, and he asked if I wanted to go and see if I could get a fight, and I said, sure. And I fought and I won, and after that I was just hooked. I had 14 fights. I lost one fight, several national titles, belts, and when I came to PAL, they asked me, can you coach kids? And I thought, sure, I guess, I'll try. A lot of the kids had never gone camping, and a couple months ago I took like 8 of them camping, and I mean, just knowing that they were having fun, they were experiencing something that they may never do, they had never done. It's a joy to me to get them to do that. I took 4 kids to San Antonio to a boxing tournament. They'd never seen the ocean. We went 3 hours out of our way because I'm like, we're not going to be this close and not see the ocean. And so I took them to see the ocean, and it's just the looks on their face. It's like being Santa Claus. And
well, a Kansas City family isn't taking any chances tonight as their 2-year-old son recovers from a gunshot wound.
I'm thinking about the little 2-year-old who just got shot. That was one of my kids' little brother. They're like family, and to know that they've entrusted me to ask me in and sit down and come to King Sierra's 15th birthday parties.
Shawnee is an individual who took a job and turned it into a lifetime commitment. How do you quantify changing a kid's life forever? And those are the kinds of things, and those are the kinds of people that make our community a great place to live.
March 14th of last year, I got a call from a childhood friend of mine, Sergeant Skip Cox, indicating that there was an issue down at the PAL Center and they were going to have to shut it down in a couple of days. They were going to have about 200 people here, kids, for a tournament and have to turn them all away.
My boss called me and asked me if we could help, and I said, well, sure, we can help with the mold, and we came down and did a little remediation, had a company involved do the mold remediation, got it open that weekend for the basketball tournament.
It was amazing to see the happy faces and all of the things that these kids have the opportunity to do and to intertwine their lives with police officers in a positive way. Just looking around, you couldn't stop. You couldn't stop but help wonder, what could we do if we just made this even a better place, which from March of last year until May of this year, I think our total is about $750,000. A lot of the changes that we've had down here include a new roof in an area that the roof was leaking, all new gutters for the building. The whole exterior of the building's been painted. We have a whole new parking lot. We have the NFL gave us $100,000 so that we could put in a football field for our kids. We've had several contractors who donated fill dirt so that we could build a baseball field. We have cleaned the facility many, many times. Just cleaning the facility alone and then watching the kids walk in when they have a clean environment has been so rewarding.
All of our corporate partners and what they've done is unbelievable. They put us about 10 years ahead of schedule on the improvements to the building at little or no charge to us, which it's been pretty incredible. We couldn't have done it without them, and we really have only just begun. We've just scratched the surface of what needs to be done.
To the building itself, there's a lot of things that we need to do. Now that we've put in a football field, we have soccer programs down here. We're trying to finish up a baseball field so that we can have baseball and softball for our kids. We want to put in a concession stand so that during those events we can sell product and put that money back into the center. Most importantly, though, we need to raise dollars so that we can help fund all of these programs that we offer to hundreds and hundreds of kids.
It's been one of the most rewarding years that I've had in my professional life and my personal life also. You know, to have a little girl painting your face at a Christmas party and see how special she is, that makes it all worthwhile. It's been very rewarding.
Having the police officers interact with these kids is absolutely key. The areas that these kids live in are not safe areas. This facility gives them a place to come that's safe, it's fun, it's nurturing, and their interactions with the cops in a positive way changes lives every single day. One afternoon I came down to the center late in the day and I sat down next to a little girl and I asked her name. She was all by herself. The whole gym was full of people. And I asked her name, and she told me her name, and she was 10 years old, and she was very sad, and I asked her if I could do something to help, and she instantly started crying, and she said that she hadn't had breakfast that day, and that she wanted to kill herself at 10 years old because she had absolutely no friends. Those are the kind of kids that you interact down here with, and if you can help them make a connection with other kids or with one of the police officers to let them know that we do care about them and they are valued, that's why we do it.